You've done the personal development, you've done the work, you've already gotten to a certain point, but you still feel stuck. You still feel like you're not getting the results from life that you want to get, even though you're doing everything, even though you're like doing the habits, you're doing the tasks, you're moving forward, but you still feel stuck somehow. And it's not because you're not doing the right things. It's not because you don't have the right information or you're lacking something. It's because you're still identified with the version of you that doesn't have what you want, that doesn't have the life you desire. You're still identified with the self-image of someone that's lacking, someone that doesn't have enough, someone that is not successful. You still see yourself as that person. And the reason you still see yourself as that person is that you're completely identified with your personality, with your body, with the people that surround you, with who you are in the physical form. Have you ever actually taken the time to question who you are beyond that? Because you're not your thoughts. You're not the actions you take on a daily basis. You're not your relationships. You are none of those things. But who are you then? Have you ever taken the time to ask yourself that question? And the reason most people are stuck is because they never ask that question. They never take that time to actually question themselves and question who they really are. And I'm not talking about personality. I'm not talking about like accepting yourself and getting more comfortable with yourself. I'm talking about who are you beyond all of that? Who is it actually that's watching, the observer, the soul, whatever you want to call it? And the reason that most people feel stuck is because they're completely disconnected from that observer, from that soul. And everything is hard, everything is limited when you're only operating as the physical you, when you're only operating as the things that you already see. And if you really want to create something new, if you really want to change your life, you have to first create that inside of you. You have to first see that in your mind and feel that, the presence of whatever you want to create. And if you're constantly identified with your physical self, with your personality, with your relationships, with everything that's going on in your life, with the external world, then it's extremely hard to change. To really change your circumstances, you have to change from within. And most people let the logical mind, the reasoning mind, rule their life. They let it take over. And what we actually need to do instead is to let the soul, the observer, take over. That's when actually everything aligns. And that's when things get easy and effortless. So stop identifying with your body, stop identifying with your personality, and start identifying with the energy that you feel within. The thing that is watching, that's what you have to identify with. And that's who you have to see yourself as. And if you do that, then things will become clearer to you. What you need to do in this life will become clearer to you. The next steps to get to where you want to be will become clear. And everything will start to align. But the reason that that's not happening for you right now is because you're still identified with your body. You're still identified with your thoughts, your emotions, your personality. And you're not in connection with the observer, with the energy that sits beneath. Once you connect with that part of you, things start to align naturally. The path in front of you becomes clearer and clearer. And through that, you find your mission that you're here to complete. You find your purpose, because your purpose is being the most natural, most authentic version of yourself. Then you naturally fulfill everything that you're supposed to fulfill. Then you're naturally doing all of the things that you desire because you are aligned with who you actually are. And once you're connected with that deeper part of you, then the next steps in your life, the next steps to fulfill your goals, to fulfill your projects will become clearer to you. And they become like breadcrumbs. You take one and then the next is revealed. You take the next one and the next is revealed. Things start taking this synchronistic turn where everything happens at the exact right time, and you meet the right people and you find the right information, and everything aligns with what you want. And that's because you're letting your soul lead, and no longer your ego, no longer the logical mind, no longer your emotions. All of these things are not reliable. The only source of information of action that's truly reliable is your soul, is the observer. It doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter what you think is real. It's that deeper part of you that you feel, that you always feel. Like the energy that's there, that's always been there, that always will be there. No matter what happens, no matter what you experience, the energy that sits beneath everything. If you let your life be guided by that energy, by that part of you, then everything will always align. So follow that energy, follow those nudges, that excitement, that feeling of this is right, that feeling of I know that this is right for me. Don't let the fear of consequences, the fear of what's going to happen, the fear of what people will think of you, don't let that hold you back. And realize that you have nothing to lose if you're following that energy. Because the biggest risk you can take is staying disconnected from that part of you, is staying identified with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your personality. Because as long as you do that, change is going to be extremely hard and extremely painful compared to if you let that deeper part of you take over. Because then everything happens naturally. Then life happens effortlessly. And the things that you want, the things that you deeply desire, the goals you're trying to achieve, they will become a natural byproduct of you just existing, of you just living. And where you feel held back, where you feel stuck, everything's going to resolve, everything's going to work out for you and happen effortlessly. You still have to put in the work, you still have to take the action. But it's no longer this hopeful sense of desperation that you're finally catching a break, that you're finally getting where you want it to be, because you're guided one step closer every day to where you want to be. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're not making progress, if you feel like something's off, then it's probably that you're identified with your emotions, with your thoughts, with your personality, with the identity that you have right now and the external world. Stop identifying with those things and identify with the part of you that's deeper, the part of you that is watching. Identify with that part of you and everything will start to align. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out my newsletter, and I will see you in the next video.